station, 1370 WOCA.
WOCA.
Thank you for tuning in, for waiting. 10 minutes after 10 o'clock. Nice looking day. The Weather Channel shows that it's raining just north of us, but nice looking day right here, and we're not complaining about the rain at all. Robin, you in your family and I in my family, we've got some strong women, don't we?
Yes,
we've
very much so.
watched them grow up from little girls, and so we're kind of revealing our age here a little bit. The one thing I want for all of them is to be happy. Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing that's probably true for all of them, I think they're all pretty strong. I don't know, what that is, and maybe girls are always strong. Maybe I was misled as a young man into thinking, man strong, girl not so strong.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I realized, that whole thing wasn't even true. Not to say that there isn't the alpha personality and the beta personality. I believe that's true in both sexes. And our next guest is going to illustrate that, especially because she's worked with married couples for a long time. Very fascinating study into the alpha woman. You hear about the alpha male a lot. This book is called The Alpha Woman Meets Her Match. It is written by Dr. Sonya Rhodes. She's on the phone. How today's strong women can find love and happiness without settling. And if there's anything I want to tell all the young girls in my family, do not settle.
Exactly.
Do not settle. Make sure you've got the right match, because happiness is about being with somebody you're compatible with. That's my amateur psychologist thought there. Sonya, Dr. Rhodes is a practicing psychotherapist in New York City for over 30 years. She served on the Jewish Board of Family and Children's Services. She served on the faculty of the New York Medical College at Columbia University. Those are her credentials. Again, the book, The Alpha Woman Meets Her Match. Good morning, Dr. Rhodes.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for being on the air and for waiting. We had kind of a long break right there. Thank you for doing that.
No problem.
So in working with married couples,
well, not only married couples, I work with a lot of single couples, women who want to get married, and I work with a lot of young couples who are thinking about marriage. So it's not just about married couples, but it is a book that talks about sort of the whole new change in gender roles and how that affects relationships.
So let me ask you something that came to mind as I was reading through the book. I don't know any woman who is like this, but I've seen them like in TV and in the movies. They're very, very, coy and, tilting their head and shy. And then you see them on a talk show and they're not that way at all. It's like, why do they do that? Is it because we as consumers, as an audience, we like to see, Hugh Hefner's vision of what women should be?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think the old version of sort of prescribing women's behavior was that she had a very narrow focus for her acceptable feminine behavior, which was to be coy, ladylike, soft, nurturing, supportive. But today, things have changed. 45% of household income is provided by women. That's an amazing statistic. 97% of the cities in the United States, single women under the age of 30, college-educated women, are making, not only closing the wage gap, but making more money than men. And more women are graduating from college and graduate school. So we have a whole new generation of fabulous women who are more comfortable with their, quote, alpha characteristics. And that's just a name for being strong, dominant, assertive, and moving into leadership roles. So these women have adopted into their personalities more what we have considered in the past to be alpha qualities, male qualities. And they are more dominant, they're stronger, they're bolder, and they're more aggressive than the traditional woman of the past. And they're well-rounded. We're not talking about the alpha bitchy women. We're not talking about the negative women, the negative alphas of the past, who were sort of acting out of character. They were not conforming to the traditional acceptable social roles for women, so they were slammed. But today, the alpha woman has really moved into the mainstream. Her personality is well-rounded. She is challenging some of the traditional sex role stereotypes that have been laid out for women, and she is a rounder, fuller, more, she has broadened the definition of what it is to be feminine.
So does that woman that you just described, in looking for somebody to spend her life with, does she not look for somebody like herself? Is that part of the problem?
Well, the part of the problem is that she gravitates to people like herself. She gravitates to the alpha male because she's been raised thinking, oh, the alpha male would be the perfect partner for me. But that's not true. The alpha male, two alphas paired, are going to usually get into a giant power struggle and end up battling for who's going to be more important. So the women who are alpha women today need to shift their focus away from the alpha male. First place, they don't need the alpha breadwinner, aggressive male. They need they need a man who's going to be supportive, who is going to be positive about, who's going to be looking up to them in the sense that they're going to support their goals and they're going to work as a team. Because the new model for relationships today, as both partners are sharing both masculine and feminine qualities. I mean, men are just moving into parenting roles as much as they are making presentations at conferences. That the best combination is for alpha women is an alpha beta combination. We call this guy the beta catch because he's an accommodating partner, but he's not a wimp. He's not a wimp any more than she's a bitch. They're just new roles that have evolved.
Really?
Yeah.
See, and I'm trying to imagine the alpha man wanting a beta woman. I would think that an alpha man would rather have somebody his equal and then both be supportive of each other, as opposed to the illustration you gave us, which is where they're competing with one another.
Yeah.
Right. I think the best partner for an alpha male is the beta female. She's a more traditional woman. She certainly has alpha in her because all women today who are out there, they have to have some alpha. You know, they have to have a balance, but they have to have alpha as well. And she's going to be a better partner for the alpha male because she's going to be more accommodating. She's going to be able to be more receptive to his dominance, and it's going to make a better match. Although the beta women also are attracted to beta men, with whom they have a very peaceful, loving, supportive, kind, gentle relationships.
So let me ask you a personal question about yourself.
Sure.
And let me do it in two parts so you can answer both of them. Are you an alpha woman? That's part one. And if you are, then part two applies. Do you sometimes relinquish that alpha mentality, like when you're at somebody else's house or somebody else's environment?
Of course. I mean, first place, I am an alpha woman. That doesn't mean I'm all alpha, but I'm a good combination of alpha and beta. My beta qualities are a little bit lower than my alpha qualities, and there's a quiz in the book that has a whole alpha-beta continuum where you can find yourself on that continuum and then find the kind of partner you want. There's a scoring method, and there are actually suggestions for what pairs do the best. But I'm not an alpha woman all the time. I mean, I'm an alpha woman who has a good balance between our alpha and beta, as we all are a mix of alpha and beta qualities. So I'm not taking over in situations, hopefully, right. I'm not taking over in situations where I don't belong. I'm able to monitor my alpha qualities so they're useful to me and they're appropriate in the right situations. But you're talking about a negative alpha, a woman who is just so dominant and so clueless about her beta qualities that she is...
okay, well, that makes sense.
She's on the negative side. Yeah, she's on the negative side. But, I mean, it's so interesting because we don't question alpha males that much. We would never say to a male, are you too dominant in a situation?
I do.
Do you? Oh, that's good.
I do. Well, let me show you how. Let me show you how. If I go to somebody's house and there's an alpha male there, I am an alpha male, but I'm not going to be an alpha male there because that's his house.
Exactly.
If he comes over to my house and he decides that he's going to be an alpha male in my house, he's not welcome there.
That's not going to work.
Exactly.
He's not welcome because he's not respecting my domain.
That's right.
And so therefore, I think I do kind of cut them down in my own way,
Right.
if I need to.
Well, that's great. Well, that's great. I mean, I think that basic people have to sort of, go with the pack. I mean, if you're in an alpha environment and someone else is the alpha there, you're going to, unless it's in a competitive work situation, you're going to respect that person's, right to assert his style of entertaining or his attitude or his bragging or whatever he's doing because you're a guest. It's totally appropriate behavior. But I think in the workplace, I think there is more conflict among alphas.
Yeah, and maybe that's a good thing because then we get better.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's true. And so particularly for women now in the workplace, they really can't sit back, as we know from Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In. I mean, The Alpha Woman Meets Her Match is kind of the companion relationship book to the Lean In book because women at work need to assert their alpha if they're going to succeed. They need to be able to move into leadership roles comfortably and take over and make decisions, be decisive. And in personal relationships at home, if they have a partner who really needs and likes to, have decisions made, that's fine too, as long as they don't battle for power.
But they can't lose that aura of respect, though. They have to. They can't just steamroll over everybody. The
Absolutely.
alpha woman. They have to
Absolutely.
respect the people, so they get that reciprocity of respect.
Oh, you're absolutely 100% right. I mean, that is one of the characters of the healthy alpha woman is that she is dominant and she is strong and she's assertive, but she's also very respectful. And she doesn't just roll over people. You're 100% right. Any more than we would want an alpha male to roll over people. I mean, that's not an attractive quality for anybody. We're talking about qualities that are both masculine and feminine and are applicable to people, not just to particular gender roles.
And do you think that some women take this alpha mentality to an extreme because some women don't want to get married, they want to be single, which is great, but then they want to adopt children, and there's no male figure in the child's life, which is not fair to the child, yet the woman will just do that. They'll adopt a child on their own without a male partner.
There are so many different family structures these days. The alpha woman who doesn't want to get married, they are growing. There used to be, I think, 5%. They're now 15% of alpha women don't want to get married. Of course, the women with less education, they have a harder time getting married, even if they wanted to. But the alpha women we're talking about are women who can afford to have a child on their own, and they do. I think there's so many different family forms now. I don't think we can be judgmental about which is better or worse, because there are lots of two-parent families in which the husband is absent or he is not available or he's removed. But alpha women do form kind of communal groups where there are men and women and they take care of each other.
That makes sense. The book is called The Alpha Woman Meets Her Match, and let's focus a little bit on the one-on-one relationship between men and women. And you even talk about sex, even the bedroom part of sex, in the book, and how our ideas on what we're supposed to be like in that environment may need to be changed a little bit, correct?
Right, absolutely. One of the things that, we have found about the alpha woman is that as goal-oriented and as confident and as successful as she is in other areas, in the sexual realm, she likes to take a back seat. She is really waiting for the guy to take over, which is really totally against her character, but she wants to feel feminine in that situation. She doesn't want to give full voice to her sexual appetite. So she holds back, and she seeks men who are kind of ravish her, who take over, who are men who are aggressive sexually. And that, to some extent, does her disfavor, because when she's with a beta man, he's likely to be, he's a great lover, but he's more of a tender lover than a tough lover. He's more of a, he's very interested in her pleasure, which is, of course, to her great advantage. So the sexual issues for the alpha women are really something they have to tackle. They need to take more control in that way. The problem is, I think that a lot of them, because they are more, quote, masculine in the outside world, they want to be more feminine in bed. They don't want to take charge in bed, and they have to overcome some of that. They don't have to be the leader in bed, but they have to be fully participating, and also share with the beta man what they like, and bring him sort of along into the kind of sex every woman deserves to have, the kind of sex they like.
Do you think Sonny and Cher had that? Do you think Do you think in Sonny and Cher? I know this goes back, but when they were in their healthy life, in their relationship, Sonny and Cher, do you think she was the alpha?
Sonny and Cher.
Yeah.
Oh, I think she was. I do think she probably was. I'm not a real celebrity follower,
right,
so,
right.
But I do know who Sonya is.
Well, I'm just trying to use somebody we all know, because I'm picturing some celebrities, some women celebrities like Madonna, for example.
Madonna's going to be very aggressive, don't you think?
She looks like it. Yeah, and what man wouldn't want that? That's the other part of this. Yeah.
I agree. I think so many women are afraid of being initiating that basically, and that is one of the strongest fantasies of men in my office, is they want the woman to initiate. They don't want to have to initiate all the time. So I think Madonna is definitely going to be a sexually aggressive woman. I'm just thinking about some of the other, Lady Gaga.
I thought of her too.
Yeah, we thought. I mean, let's think really. I don't think she's waiting to be taken. I think she's taking.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. But then again, wouldn't it balance out once you got to know the person you're with? It's kind of like a game, you know. Tonight I'm going to be the aggressor.
Right.
Tomorrow you're going to be the aggressor.
Exactly,
right?
And that's the best partnership. I mean, that's the way really good sexual partnerships work. Everybody, you don't have a single role. I mean, that's what's so great about the alpha beta sort of continuum here, is that we're just seeing a broader range of behavior that people can that people can express. It just gives you a wider expression and broadens the definition of male and female behavior for the man too. I mean, look at the beta man. If he has a chance to be a better partner, a better parent, he's a guy who's going to really pull his own weight. He's going to be a teammate. I mean, that is a great role for men these days.
Yeah, I think Betamax made a mistake when they called their videotape. They were destined to be kicked out of out of the bed, weren't they?
And also, too, you bring up the issues about dating. I mean, there's still, even though the norm from the past is gone, each partner still has to be able to treat the other.
Right. You know, the dating game is completely, one of the interesting things about the online dating is that it levels the playing field for both men and women, because women can be just as assertive and seeking out men as men can be. But I think one of the things that complicates the dating scene today is all the technology. Texting is used very spontaneously and impulsively. Doesn't usually mean that there's any kind of a great relationship going. It may be used just for sex, booty calls. The whole dating scene, the hookup culture, has changed enormously.
Yeah.
And actually it has been good for women in the sense that they can make the same kind of overtures that men can make and make their choices. One of the great things I like about the Alpha Woman Meets Her Match is that it's not a book about twisting women into pretzels to accommodate men. It's about women thinking about what they need and what they want.
You know, and going back to how I opened it, thinking about the women I love who are, related to me, younger, like nieces.
Right, like your children.
I mean, I want them to listen to what you're saying, because I think that's the healthier way to be. And I think in America, we're probably a lot better off in this regard than in some countries that really suppress this.
Oh my God, we're way ahead of the curve. I mean, when you read about other countries where their women are beginning to sort of express their a women's movement, they're like 50 years behind us.
Yeah,
they are 50 years behind us,
and
really.
We've still got a way to go.
I love the idea of having our alpha and beta, kids in training. We had a party yesterday to celebrate the book, and my grandchildren were there, and they're 10, 8, 6, and 4. And we just called them, I introduced them all, and I said, these are our alpha and betas in training.
Yeah, and all the boys said, I am no beta.
Oh, no, quite the opposite. Really, because we have been promoting the beta man in our family for years and years. And so basically our grandson said, I want to be a beta man. I want to have a partner. I want to be a good parent.
Yeah, doctor.
That's what they identify with.
Doctor, we have to run. How do we get the book? Do we get?
Oh, you actually, it's on sale in the bookstores now. It's on sale at Amazon in both a Kindle version, an audio version, and a hardcover.
All right, excellent.
You can order it today, and it'll come tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Boston pausing to remember the devastating attack.
The scars still linger a year later here along Boylston Street, but you can see it. Determination on people's faces to never let the bad guys win.
We're going to do what we're going to do, and no one's going to stop us. There's nothing that's going to keep us from doing it.
It's amazing to see the community change.
And today, a tribute as Vice President Joe Biden and other state and local dignitaries honor the